Welcome to Simpler Bible, a daily journey to biblical understanding. Back in Isaiah, and God is going to compare himself to idols again. And this language, this comparative language today is brilliant. It's funny. I don't know if you'll find it funny. I find it funny every time I get to this chapter. So Isaiah 46, God says, I will carry you. Let's begin in verse 1. This is about the idols. Bel bows down. Bel is an idol, a false god. Nebo stoops down, another idol or false god. Their idols are on beast and livestock. These things you carry are borne as burdens on weary beasts. Okay, so Bel and Nebo, these two false gods, have to have these idols that go along with you wherever you go, of stone or wood or metal. And he goes, when you go from one place to the other, you have to pack them in the saddle or put them on the back of these beasts of burdens so that they can carry them to the next place. And you weary the beast with these gods that you have to carry and get from one place to the other. Listen, if you have to move your God, like next time you're moving from house to house, if you have to pack up your God and wrap him in like cellophane or whatever, and with care, somebody has to move him, he is not God if you have to move your God. So it says they stoop, they bow down together, they cannot save the burden, but themselves go into captivity. So these gods go into captivity as well. Listen to me, O house of Jacob, all the remnant of the house of Israel, who have been born by me. Now, if you're just listening to this on the podcast, then born here, B-O-R-N-E, carried. So he says, listen to me, O house of Jacob, remnant of the house of Israel, who have been carried by me from before your birth, carried from the womb. So the contrast is, if you have an idol, you have to carry that idol, that false god, from one place to the other. And God goes, but I have carried you. So there's the contrast between these two gods. Even in your old age, I am he, and to gray hairs, I will carry you. I have made you. I will bear you. I will carry you. I will save you. So look at this in two verses here. I have borne you, that's carried. I have carried you from the womb. Even to your old age and gray hairs, I will carry you. I have made you. I will bear you, carry you, and I will carry you and save you. 5 times in two verses, he said, I will be the one who carries you. So these idols, if you're going to make an idol, the foolish idol that the metalsmith and the carpenter carve out, and they don't even discern that half of it they burned in the fire. He goes, you have to carry those on beasts of burden from one place to the next, but I have carried you. Verse 5, and this is language you've already heard several times in the last few days. I know that these chapters sound very familiar. To whom will you liken me and make me my equal? And whom will you compare me that we will be alike? In other words, what other God is there like me? There isn't another one like me. Those who lavish gold from the purse and weigh out silver in the scales hire a goldsmith, and he makes it into a god, and they fall down and worship it. They lift it up onto their shoulders. They carry it. They set it in its place, and it stands there. It cannot move from its place. If one cries out to it, it doesn't answer or save him from his troubles. And that probably reminds us again of Psalm 115, verses 4 through 8. And Psalm 135 verses 15 through 18 that talk about those who serve idols become like them, right? Powerless. Remember this and stand firm. Recall it to mind, you transgressors. Remember the former things of old, for I am God and there is no other. I am God and there is none like me. I declare the end from the beginning, and from ancient times things not yet done, saying my counsel will stand and I will accomplish my purpose. We saw that yesterday, that he is declaring things 200 years in advance. And he's like, I'm the one who declares the end from the beginning. I'm the one who declares from ancient times the things that are going to take place. I am the one who, he goes on to say in verse 11, who calls a bird of prey from the east, the man of my counsel from a far country. I have spoken, I bring it to pass. I have purposed, and I will do it. Listen to me, you stubborn of heart, you who are far off from righteousness. I bring near my righteousness. It is not far off, and my salvation will not delay. I will put my salvation in Zion. Pay attention there to Zion again. For Israel, my glory. Roll straight into chapter 47. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. So this is interesting. This is a prophecy against Babylon. Babylon is just now coming into power. They're really not in power yet. Assyria is still kind of the world power. Babylon will be in power. So this is again telling what's going to take place. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground without a throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for you will no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstones and grind the flour. Put off your veil, strip off your robe, uncover your legs, and pass through the rivers. Your nakedness will be uncovered, your disgrace will be seen, and I will take vengeance, and I will spare no one. So Babylon ultimately gets destroyed by Persia, where Cyrus is the king. Our Redeemer, the Lord of hosts is his name, is the Holy One of Israel. So sit in silence and go into darkness, Babylon, O daughter of the Chaldeans. Chaldea, the Chaldeans, that's the Babylonians. For you shall no more be called the mistress of kingdoms. I was angry with my people, and I profaned my heritage. I gave them into your hand and you showed them no mercy. On the aged you made your yoke exceedingly heavy. So this is the days of Nebuchadnezzar when he came against Jerusalem. Isaiah is before all that. Isaiah is not taking place. Babylon has not risen to power yet. Babylon has not destroyed Jerusalem yet. And so he's speaking of what's going to happen, that Babylon rose to power and then was wicked to the people of God. But God says, I did it because my people had sinned against me. I handed them over into your power, but then you were wicked to them. You showed them no mercy. You said, and keep in mind, this is Babylon. This is the nation of Babylon. Don't let that slip out of your head. You said, I will be a mistress forever, so that you did not lay these things to heart or remember their end. Now, therefore, hear this, you lover of pleasures, again, Babylon, who sits securely. You say in your heart, I am, and there is no one beside me. I shall not sit as a widow or know the loss of children. All right. So Babylon has gotten such an ego that Babylon has come to the place where it says, I am, and there's no one beside me. This is the language that God has been using of himself the last 3 or 4 days that we've seen. And God's been saying, I am and there is no other. But Babylon has risen to power and said, I am and there is no other. It's kind of like what we saw back in Isaiah 10 when God used Assyria to come against the northern kingdom of Israel and bring judgment against them. And then the king of Assyria said, now I'm going to go and destroy Jerusalem as well. And God goes, whoa, 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 whoa. Can the axe wield the one, or can the axe be in charge over the one who wields it, or is the club greater than the one who swings it? And he reminded Assyria, you're just the axe, you're just the club, and he destroyed the Assyrian army. Well, the Babylonians have now been puffed up in pride. They've gotten victory over God's people, right, over Jerusalem, and so they've said, we are, and there is no one like us. And Babylon has said of themselves in verse 8, I will not sit as a widow or know the loss of children. And then verse 9, God says, these two things will come upon you in a moment, in one day. The loss of children and widowhood will come upon you in full measure, in spite of your many sorceries and the great power of your enchantments. You felt secure in your wickedness, Babylon, and said, no one sees me. Your wisdom and your knowledge led you astray. And you said in your heart, I am, and there is no one beside me. So Babylon is saying of themselves what only God should say of himself. But evil will come upon you, which you will not know how to charm away. Disaster will fall upon you, for which you will not be able to atone. And ruin will come upon you suddenly, of which you know nothing about. Stand fast in your enchantments and your many sorceries, over which you have labored from your youth. Perhaps you may be able to succeed. Perhaps you may inspire terror. You are wearied with your many counsels. Let them stand forth and save you. Let those who divide the heavens and who gaze at the stars, who at the new moons make known what shall come upon you. Behold, they are like stubble. The fire consumes them. They cannot deliver themselves from the power of the flame. No coal for warming oneself is this, no fire to sit before. Such to you are those with whom you have labored, whom you have done business with from your youth. They wander about each in his own direction, and there is none to save you. So this is God's ultimate judgment on Babylon. We'll find later in the book of Jeremiah that God raises up Babylon and calls Babylon his servant. He says, Babylon is my servant, and I'm going to bring them against my rebellious people of of Judah and Jerusalem, and they're going to destroy Jerusalem and Judah for their wickedness against me. And he says, but then I will get judgment on Babylon. And so this is what's being prophesied here for us in Isaiah 47. So again, God is better than the idols. The idols are false, and you have to carry your idols, but God has carried the people of Israel. And then the judgment against Babylon that will eventually come. Remember, Babylon has not yet risen to power. Babylon has not yet destroyed Jerusalem, but there is already a prophecy in place that even though Babylon will rise to power, they will ultimately be destroyed. Join me tomorrow, and we will be in Isaiah 48 and 49, and we will see more about what God is doing with his rebellious people and how he is reminding them of who he is. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much for journeying with us today at Simpler Bible through another section of Scripture where we come to know and understand God a little bit better. Look, if you're brand new to Simpler Bible, we have all sorts of resources available for you. Go to our website, simplerbible.com, and there you can find these videos, you can find our podcast, you can find links to our social media, and you can even find a blog post with additional scriptures if you want to go into a little bit more study than we had time to cover in this podcast and video today. We hope that this tool will be exactly that for you, a tool. Not something that replaces your daily walk with God, but something that enhances your daily walk with God and helps you to know and enjoy Him more. Thank you so much for being part of this, and we'll see you again tomorrow.